كل الذين ينضموا للاستماع إلى راديو بلدي أول راديو عربي أمريكي ويعنى بقضايا العرب في المهجر. برامجنا في راديو بلدي كل يوم جمعة من 8 وحتى 9 صباحا مع ليلى الحسيني في بث حي ومباشر عبر WNZK راديو 690 AM. صباح الخير بلدي، صباح الخير لكل مستمعينا.
Welcome to Radio Baladi, the first Arab, Middle Eastern, and American simulcast radio show. Radio Baladi is broadcast every Friday morning on WNZK 690 AM from 8 until 9 Eastern Time on Good Morning Michigan with Layla Al-Husseini. Our call-in number 248-557-3300. And now, stay tuned for the best radio talk show on Arab and American issues with your host, Layla Al-Husseini.
أعزائي المستمعين، أسعد الله صباحكم. أرسل لكم عبر الأثير أجمل التحيات وأتمنى لكم أسعد الأوقات. معكم خليل هاشم من راديو بلدي من ميشيغان. نرحب بكم، شاركونا في هذا البرنامج اليومي الصباحي على الرقم التالي 248-557-3300. Good morning and welcome to Radio Baladi, the best ethnic radio talk show in the area. My name is Khalil Hashim and I will be with you this morning for this hour, and I want to welcome you and thank you for listening. First, just to tell you a little bit about me. I'm a journalist in the area with executive editor of YamMichigan.com. And Layla could not be with us today, so I'll be more than happy, and I'm delighted to be with you today. We've had actually a busy week this week in the area. There are a lot of news, and some of it is on Monday. We've had some torrential rain dumping about 6 inches of rain in the area within a few hours, flooding the area and flooding our basements. Our neighborhoods looks like a disaster area with all the belongings being dumped out. And with us today, we're going to have one of the people are going to be talking to explore the issues and find out how can we cope with the cleanup and how can we cope with and how can we deal with it. I believe we have online with us is Tariq Baidoun, and good morning, Tariq.
Good morning.
Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you.
Wonderful. Let's start by telling us a little bit about you, Tariq.
Well, I'm a Dearborn attorney. I was born and raised in the area, and I run a community-based law firm, the Meridian Law Group, and we're helping people with their claim forms now.
Okay. We also have with us attorney Ali Dagher. Good morning, Ali.
Yes, good morning. How are you this morning?
Good. How are you? And thank you for joining us, both of you. Ali, tell us a little bit about you as well.
Well, I'm a 22-year practitioner. I've been in the area for a long time. I'm also the chairman of the American Arab Chamber of Commerce, one of its founders and founding member of a number of organizations in town. It's a pleasure to be on your show, and I look forward to answering any questions you have.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, both of you, for being with us. We were hoping, other people would join us as well so we can answer more questions when it comes to health and safety and cleanup. This is a huge issue in the community. And before we start, I just want to ask either one of you just to give us a little bit of update. This has been going on since Monday. Please, either one of you, if you want to give us an update, where we are and what's going on right now.
Yes.
Go ahead, please.
I'm not sure if we lost Ali, but I thought Ali would go first.
Okay.
I'm here. Here's what's going on. The summary of all of this is that the governor, it started out at the local level, several municipalities and counties applied for emergency aid so that the declaration of emergency can be made. The governor on Wednesday at about 11 o'clock declared a state of emergency in the 3 county areas. The fundamental change in the declaration is that they allow FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, to come in and assess the damage and also begin compensation. Now, this FEMA emergency declaration is still pending with the White House, and as far as we know, has not been approved. The difference between FEMA declaration and the normal course of what would happen is this. Under the FEMA declaration, it's a state of emergency, and fault is not relevant in terms of whether people get compensated for the damages. If a state of emergency under FEMA is not declared, then in order for people to get money from municipal and county government, they must prove that the county government or the municipal government was at fault. Now, there are only 2 or 3 ways that the government can be at fault, and that is by failure of the pumps to work or blockage in the main sewer line. So far, we really don't have information on either of those things. Our best hope is that indeed that this state of emergency is declared and the government is able to give proper attention to this. Now, people are always asking the same questions. Question number 1 is, what about my insurance? Clark and I have said that again and again that they should file an insurance claim no matter what. The important thing is to either get a compensation or get denial. If you're denied, you can use the denial to go after the government benefits that may be out there through FEMA, or if there's a fault with the municipal government, to go after the municipal government or the county government. So either way, number 1, file your claim against the insurance company. 2, file your claim with the municipal government through our assistance or directly, however you want to do it, and move forward. We will keep everybody updated through social media and everything else that's been going on. Am I wrong on this, Art?
No, and Khalil, if I may,
yes, please.
There are some questions raised. Well, the city's telling me I can come fill this out and encouraging us to do that. Everyone should definitely get a claim form, and the question becomes, why would you go to a lawyer or another advocate and pull your claims? And the answer is very simple. If and when money comes in, the money is going to be divided, not to sound pessimistic, but on a political basis. Where do they think that they can satisfy people?
What do you mean political?
Well, let me explain. So if there's a certain amount of money and it's going to be administered to victims, the victims that are pulling together and are making their claims through law firms or through other groups, advocacy groups, are going to be potential classes if and when a city is found to be at fault. And when I mean a class, I mean a potential class of claimants or litigators. And so at that point, those people are more likely to get settled. So there is strength in numbers here. Everyone should definitely get their claim form in.
So this sounds like it's going to take a lot of time. Is there any indications? Are there any indications that people may get any help, immediate help?
The city of Dearborn is sending out assessment teams. Now, there are thousands of houses in Dearborn. The Free Press announced yesterday that between a third and a half of the houses in Dearborn, they reported, were affected. That is, by my estimate, between 10 and 17,000 houses. Now, that is a lot of work to do. So people need to help themselves first, but they need to preserve their legal rights so that if money does come in through FEMA or any other source, that they have their rights protected, that they're going to have people to be able to advocate for assistance if it comes. If it doesn't come and there is fault, which, again, has not been established, but is definitely a possibility, then we are going to be ready. And when I say we, I mean, all of the advocates that are taking this on. We're going to be ready to be able to at least take a look at it and take action if and when necessary.
Are we working with any of our congressmen in Washington to help us speed up the FEMA designation or anything like that?
Absolutely. What's happening is that, we're lucky in a way that we have some of the best congressional delegation in the nation. Congressman Conyers, Congressman Dingell, and the incredible delegations and incredible members of Congress. The process of their advocacy has already started. We're hoping that the application that the governor submitted to the federal government is one that is sufficient and has all the information. Now, keep in mind how this works. The Wayne County initiated this on Tuesday morning. Indeed, Cindy Dingell was one of the advocates for getting this process started. I met with Cindy on Wednesday morning. She pointed out to me that the municipal governments were somewhat slow in getting some of this information. And the more accurate these claims are, and that's the thing about these claims, the data that's collected by the city is through the claims that are made. So these claims should be submitted in. The local governments provided this directly to the state emergency manager. The state emergency manager put the application together and then submits it. Now, obviously, the thing about the North, when I say the North part of the United States, is that we send a lot of money to the South when the emergencies happen. I think the congressional delegation is making the argument that, wait a minute, this is a time when we need it. Michigan, and particularly Southeast Michigan, it does send money as part of the congressional delegation, as part of the taxes we pay, to pay for those relief in the South when the hurricanes happen. And very rarely do we need the money here. And the congressional representatives are all making the argument that indeed this is one of the times we do. They said this is quote unquote 100-year flood. I think that justifies it. I think our members of Congress are going to make that argument. I think they're advocating for it. The question is, has the governor submitted all of the information necessary in this application so that we are effective with FEMA for that emergency declaration?
And how do we find out that, whether he did or not?
Well, I think that the members of Congress are advocating, and FEMA is going to come back and respond accordingly. And if FEMA finds a fault in the application, they're going to say, well, this is the problem with the application.
Okay.
I doubt very much the governor in an election year is going to do that. I think clearly the fact that Oakland County, which is a heavily Republican district, is saying that we need help, is going to give the governor a very strong incentive to put together a good application. But again, the application is based on data that's provided by the municipal governments and the county.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Tara. You have something to say?
We do need to keep up the political pressure. As I said, the legal processes are there to be used. They're definitely available. The money is definitely available. The question is going to become a decision of whether to allocate the resources and what resources to allocate. I was just looking at a natural disaster that happened somewhere in the Northwest online this morning, and FEMA did deny personal assistance. So while they provided the municipalities assistance to do some cleanup after a fire, they denied assistance to the homeowners who completely lost their homes, half of which were not even insured. So in this situation, people need to raise their voices because it is an election year. Governor Snyder did not appear as if he was going to declare a state of emergency until pressure was put on him. That's just my personal observation. I have no, empirical evidence of that. But, a lot of these things are going to become political.
And there's a reason why. There's a reason why, Tarek. And the
why is that?
The state has to match money to some extent, to a large extent, to what the federal government is going to match. The question is the governor willing to use that money in the counties that are mostly affected? Again, it's all about politics sometimes, and I'm not quite sure what the politics of whether or not he wants to use the money in Wayne or Macomb County. You know what I'm saying? It's a question of how these resources allocate. The governor may not have an incentive to want a declaration because he wants to use the money elsewhere.
Do we have some kind of a committee in the community that is following up with the governor, with the congressional delegations, with everybody, or this is more of an individual effort?
No, it's not an individual effort, but keep in mind this is not just an Arab American community issue. This is a Metro Detroit area issue. Macomb, Oakland, and Wayne counties were affected. So You not only have Arab Americans that are following up on it, and Tarek and I, and me specifically, is following up on it, but at the end of the day, this is not just an Arab American issue. This is a regional issue. And I'm pretty certain that any effort, including ethnic effort, will be helpful.
Absolutely. So do we have some kind of a committee coordinating together from the area? It does not have to be, purely Arab American, but,
Well, no, I think that the municipal league is following up on it. You also have the county lobbyists are following up on it. There isn't a specific force or task force. I mean, remember the event happened on Tuesday or Monday.
Sure.
It's not something that you can develop overnight. It takes time, but indeed the law is the law, and these things are going to be followed through. I think FEMA is going to step in. The question is right, what Tariq said. Is FEMA going to step in to help municipal governments, county governments, or they're going to help or they're going to help individual people?
Sure.
From my perspective.
Yes, go ahead, please.
To answer that very important question, social media is so powerful these days, especially with the ability to show images, that there's a two-part effort that we can have an immediate impact on. I started a Facebook group and added as many local officials as I could that were friends of mine, as well as reporters. I'm hoping that they can use that to coordinate to some degree, at least share information. I know that they all are going to try to get individual assistance. And the more educated the voter is, I mean, you're talking about thousands and thousands of voters here. Sure. The more educated they are and the more they raise their voices, the more likely they are to get individual assistance. But, time is short. It's hard to reverse a decision by FEMA after it comes.
Sure.
There is an appeal process, but we have to start raising these voices now. You're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars in damages. In 2000, there was maybe a 2 or 3 inch rain that resulted in flooding. There were over 58,000 claims to FEMA. FEMA paid out over $200 million in individual assistance in 2000, and then there was a class action lawsuit that settled out of the same rainstorm 5 years later for another almost $13 million. So most of the damage had already been paid for before there was even a class action lawsuit. And, of course, that was a Democratic president and a Democratic governor. But in this situation, this is an election year. This is a time where we can ask for this. I mean, Detroit has created, as Ali mentioned earlier, most of the wealth in this state and a lot of the wealth in this country. For Detroit to be left wondering whether individuals are going to be given assistance after the economic downturn that it has suffered is really unfortunate. And when I say Detroit, I mean the region. These people have toxins and parasites in their basement.
We're gonna get to that, and I'm gonna ask you to hold that thought. We're gonna take a short break, and please stay with us. We have with us Attorney Tariq Baidoun, Attorney Ali Daghiru, and we're discussing the flood in the area. We're just gonna take a short break, and we'll be right back. Please stay with us.
Ziyad brand, quality products from our family to yours. Ziyad Brothers Importing offers the finest quality products, including brands like Sultan, Kraft, Nestle, Hook, Rico Picon, Donna, and many more. Ask your retailer to carry these fine products because you deserve the very best. For more information, visit our website at www.ziyad.com. That's www.ziyad.com. Ziyad, quality products from our family to yours.
Betsy's Bridal and Formal, Michigan's largest selection of special occasion dresses. Exclusive bridal and cocktail fashions for formal engagements, proms, showers, pageants, mother of the bride and groom, and full bridal wear. Sizes 6 through 30. Betsy's has over 33 years in the bridal business. We promise you the best quality service and alterations. Betsy's Bridal and Formal is located at 6189 Haggerty Road in West Bloomfield. Call 248-669-9999. That's 248-669-9999.
If you get into a car accident, how will you pick up the pieces when you can't work, when the bills pile up? Who will help you? Call 866-YOUR-RIGHTS.
I called Jumana. She took care of everything. My medical bills, lost wages, and even a large settlement.
I am Jumana Kiruz, and I assure you that my team will not stop until you get the most for your rights.
If you've been in a car accident, call Jumana. 866-YOUR-RIGHTS.
Senabriku for all your Metro Detroit real estate needs. 248-755-3494. Whether buying or selling, short sales, foreclosure, or investment for both business and residential, call Senabriku owner and broker of St. Jude Realty at 248-755-3494.
Welcome back to Radio Baladi. I thank you for listening to us, and I want to remind you that you can join the conversation at 248-557-3300. We're talking to attorneys Tarek Baidoun and Ali Dagher, and we're talking about the flood that happened on Monday and Tuesday this week, and how it's affecting the community. I also want to remind you that you can get quite a bit of information on our website at www.yeahmichigan.com. We have compiled most of the information that you need, and we are also keeping it up to the hour on updates and what's going on and where you need to go. And I want to go back to Tuesday. Ali and Tarek, you took the initiative to call the community for a meeting, and there were a lot of people there. And why did you decide to do this?
Well, Khalid, there was not much being done. My office, and I think I can speak for Ali too, was being inundated with calls of people who were wondering, what do we do? What if our insurance is telling us that they don't cover this? And we decided that people need they need a venue. They need some answers. So we snapped into action that same night. Ali and I met, and we decided we'd like to educate people from the health perspective, from the legal perspective, from every perspective possible, insurance perspective. Let them know at least that there are people, there are resources that they can call, whether it be the insurance commission, whether it be their attorney. What their rights are. We handed out packages about safety. We had someone from Oakwood come and talk to people about what the possible
the health hazard. Yeah. The health hazard and the cleanup and all of that. What some of the resources out there?
So the Michigan Office of Insurance Commissioner is a good resource. If you can't find an attorney to take on an insurance denial, and before FEMA comes in, there should be a call to their office. I don't have that number off the top of my head. I hope you can put it online.
Sure. Could you say the name one more time? The Michigan
Office of the Insurance Commission, I believe.
Okay.
And I believe there was a representative or an insurance commissioner at our meeting, and hundreds showed up. I mean, we left that meeting with over 380 email addresses, and that was not counting people who didn't sign in, who didn't have an email address, and people who were submitting online forms. And when we saw that kind of turnout, we knew before we saw actual numbers that there were going to be thousands and thousands of homes, and we really started to understand the magnitude of the impact. And then when we saw it on the news, that the news actually came and covered it with 2 hours notice, we knew that people were talking about it and that local officials were starting to feel the pressure because everyone was getting calls and getting questions. And I think that type of quick action is what results in the advocacy from every corner. And that's what I think the biggest value, of what we did was.
Here's the thing that, and you notice how many people really turned out. It was a huge turnout, and a lot of people were very upset. They were frustrated. They really didn't know what to do. And here's the frustration here is that I called my insurance, and they said I wasn't protected. And then, the city is saying that fill up this form and that form. And when do I know that, this is really over my head? I need some help. When do I really know that I need to either call you or call somebody? Or do I need to do that? Can I just file that form with the city and I'm okay?
It's really up to you, the person, and their comfort level. The process isn't that complicated in a way. First, you fill out whatever you submit whatever insurance claim you need to submit. That insurance claim gets the process started. It's required for you to submit that insurance claim for you to have any claim against the city or potential claim with FEMA. Either way, you need to go through the insurance company first. You make the claim, make sure you get a claim number, and make sure that if they deny you, you get denial in writing. This is important.
Okay.
Because if you don't have something in writing, then that's an issue. Get a claim number and then insist on them sending you a denial letter, not just over the phone denial. That's the first step. Step number 2, let us help you if you need help in filling out the form. Tarek's been doing an amazing job. He and I are coordinating that. It's online. Go in. What's important about the claim then, filling out that form, is that it tracks what you're spending, it tracks what you've lost. 2 weeks from now, when you're trying to do this,
yep.
you may not remember what's out there.
Exactly.
Because you're always stressed out. When you're doing the form immediately, you remember what you're doing and you remember what losses you have more effectively. A picture is worth 1,000 words.
Absolutely.
Take lots of pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Keep every single receipt that you have to prove that, in fact, you spent the money on cleanup, because the FEMA has some cleanup money available to it as well as the replacement costs and some of the other things that are out there. Track everything. Treat this as a business in a way, because it is a business in some form. Make sure that you hold on to all the receipts that you've spent. Make sure that you get a qualified contractor to do the work for you. I know those are in short demand right now. My mother's basement was flooded. I went to Walmart to buy a mop, and I couldn't find
There was
any
none.
mops.
Yeah, there was none. Most of the
There
stores were out.
Walmart.
Absolutely.
All the stores were out of mops. So we know that we're facing a crisis, but at the end of the day, document everything, hire qualified contractors, and if you feel like you need help in pursuing the claim, feel free to contact myself or contact Tarek. My number is 313-846-1900. Tarek, your number is 313.
Go ahead, Tarek.
Yes, 288-8529. And we are having, on that note, we are having today sessions at 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, and 4 at our Dearborn office. We've got a team of young professionals, at least 5 of them, standing by helping people fill out their assistance forms. And, my opinion is in line with Ali's, but I do want to state that there are definite advantages to using the services of an advocate or attorney. We're not asking anyone for any money. We do think that, if we are able to compile these claims properly, that we are going to be able to raise awareness and raise those claims as soon as possible to FEMA if and when money comes available. So that's why we're encouraging people to come in and sign up with us. And then if we do find fault, and if there is a class action, which again is a big if here, then we will be ready to go. But we won't be ready to go, and you won't be ready to go as an individual if you file on your own.
So let me understand this. So would there be a cost if you file the claim for me with the city and the city gives money for cleanup? Would it cost me money to pay you that, or I would only pay you if you file a lawsuit on my behalf?
No, if and when you do recover, we will recover a percentage.
Okay.
And we will add value to justify that by, number 1, advocating on your behalf, and number 2, making sure that your damages are documented properly.
Okay.
Because what we've seen in the past, and again, this is anecdotal, but this is from experience, is cities offer amounts that are much less than what should be offered.
Okay.
And this is, the case in any kind of litigation or potential litigation.
Sure.
So, we're able, we think, to add value in the negotiation process, but also the documentation process.
How about the power in number? If you have, a lot of people together, does that really help as well?
Yes, it does, because if the mayor is looking at a class, I'm just giving an example, hypothetically, if the mayor is looking at a class of 100 or 200 people who are ready to sue based on evidence of negligence, again, hypothetically, and FEMA comes in and starts paying out, well, guess who the mayor or public official is going to be asking FEMA to pay? They're going to be asking FEMA to pay that group of people that is a potential class of litigants.
Anything to add to that, Ali?
Yeah, the point is there is power in organization. The person or if a group of people are simply not organized in a way that facilitates their needs, then they're really not represented. And whether you join an organization or you do it on in a group, you're always better off, much better off, advocating for yourself as part of a group. That's the point.
It's always powerful to be as a group. Also, I want to add to the fact that I'm assuming that your offices have, you have a staff who speak Arabic and can explain, whether your office or somebody else's office, hopefully that they have, staff who can speak Arabic and can answer questions. And judging from the meeting we attended on Tuesday, there are a lot of people who really wanted to wade through all the, all the information. It's like, I really don't understand it. Help me understand, what's going on. And, and this is a really great step and for you guys taking up to this issue and helping out people. And
we need help. Khalid, we have 5 people working on this. We have Arabic speakers. We're helping people fill out the forms, physically. At the most fundamental level, we're helping people.
So do you need volunteers?
Yes, we do. And,
okay.
And I was just going to mention that. So if there's anyone that can help out, please just show up to our office. We're at 24513 Ford Road. It's in Dearborn. It's just west of Telegraph on Ford Road. It's in the same parking lot as an Armstrong Dental. If anybody wants to help out, they can come by 313-288-8529. So even at the most
Could you repeat that number slowly, please?
Sure, 313-288-8529.
Wonderful. And I also want to remind listeners that those numbers and the address to the information that Tariq just mentioned are on our website as well. You can click on that and you can go to their website and get the information. And this is really, it's much needed right now for our our community, any other community, however it needs help, to provide the help that's needed. And I'm going to ask kindly.
Let me point something out. That,
go ahead, please.
Tariq and I started this thing on Monday night when the storm was still going on, because we both recognized what an immense undertaking this would be. We honestly started it not with the anticipation of either of us making a dime, but rather because of personal needs. My mother, my family members, and Tariq's family members were all in this situation together. So he and I literally met on Monday night and started the process. And our first vision was advocacy and organization. Tariq and I are community activists, and we've been doing this for a long time. That's where we started with this thing, and that's where we're still going with it. Whether or not it results in anything that in financial gain, that's a different story. But our first foremost objective is advocacy and making sure that people are protected. And again, I keep reiterating this. We put out all the information. And whatever we can do to help, we are available to help. Tariq gave the address.
Sure.
I gave you my phone number. It's 313-846-1900. Anything we can do to help you, please don't hesitate to call us.
Sounds good. And, gentlemen, I want to ask you to stay with us. We're going to take another break, and then we'll be back and with talking with attorneys Tariq Baidoun and Ali Daghir from Dearborn in regard to the flood. Please stay tuned.
Dr. Al Zuhaili specializes in diabetes and endocrinology and has been conducting research for over 12 years. Right now, there are several clinical studies actively enrolling for both adult and pediatric patients with type 2 diabetes. Under Dr. Al Zuhaili's care, participants in the clinical research trials receive free lab work, medical procedures, medical supplies, and medications to assist in their treatment. Qualified participants are also compensated for their time and travel in addition to receiving top care for their diabetes treatment and control. The research department is equipped with experienced and friendly staff who will work to manage patient care and schedule accommodations. Please contact Al Zuhaili Medical Consultants at 1331 Monroe Street in Dearborn. Visit alzuhailidiabetes.com and call 313-581-8903. 313-581-8903.
New Concept Product and Design، رائدة إعداد وتجهيز المطاعم والمطابخ بالمعدات بشكل كامل، غرف التبريد والثلاجات. يمكننا مساعدتكم في الحصول على التمويل اللازم لمشروعكم، وكذا الحصول على الإجازات اللازمة من الدوائر الصحية. نخدمكم بخبرة 25 عاما. ناجي عبود صديقكم الدائم. للاتصال الهاتف رقم 248-442-9292 248-442-9292 وتماما على 33900 West 8 Mile Farmington Hills. للمزيد من التفاصيل زيارة الموقع الإلكتروني www.nuconceptproducts.com.
مؤسسة الحياة للإغاثة والتنمية في مدينة ساوثفيلد في ولاية ميشيغان، المؤسسة الرائدة في العمل الإغاثي والإنساني. مؤسسة الحياة ومنذ 20 سنة تقدم العون للفقراء والمحتاجين والمتضررين بسبب الكوارث الطبيعية أو الحروب في شتى أنحاء العالم. كما تقوم مؤسسة الحياة بكفالة الأيتام والعوائل الفقيرة وحفر آبار المياه في مناطق الحاجة، وأيضا تقوم مؤسسة الحياة بتزويد المشافي والمستوصفات الصحية بالأدوية والمعدات الطبية وإنشاء مدارس وعيادات طبية في أقطار عديدة من العالم. ومؤسسة الحياة مرخصة للعمل في الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية، وجميع التبرعات معفاة من الضرائب. اتصلوا بمؤسسة الحياة للإغاثة والتنمية على رقم الهاتف المجاني 1-800-827-3543 أو زوروا موقعهم الإلكتروني على www.lifeusa.org.
Welcome back to Radio Baladi, and I want to thank you for being with us this morning, and I want to remind you that you can join us by telephone at 248-557-3300. For more information, visit us on www.michigan, that's yamichigan.com. We try to compile as much information as possible and provide you with as much update as possible online for that as well. We with us attorneys Tariq Baidoun and Ali Dagher from Dearborn, and we're discussing the current flood and its implications and how to deal with it. And we had a question here, Ali or Tariq, either one. Now, do different cities have different forms, and what do I need to do? Go to their websites, call these cities, or do you guys have these different forms?
What we've done is made available the generic form that could be used in any city.
Okay.
That's the advantage of coming to the website Tariq created or calling us directly.
Okay.
Different cities do have somewhat different forms, but in the end, the basic information has to be provided. The information about the loss, the information about your identity, and things like that.
Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead, Tariq.
Another thing is, the statute is pretty technical, although, there is no statutory form. There is certain information that needs to be on there. And then it also it requires that you report the loss to the potential defendant. If you're going to sue at some point, if there was going to be fault, and you didn't notify Wayne County, for instance, you probably made a big mistake, because the claims have to be made to the governmental unit. And in this case, Wayne County is intertwined in the entire system. The wastewater treatment facility, I believe in Wyandotte, is, supposedly just received an award last year, but it's run by Wayne County. And apparently it was either overwhelmed or did not work properly.
Sure.
The pumps failed, sorry. The pumps failed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the pumps were
do we know that for a fact?
Yeah, I do know that for a fact.
Okay. And
the pumps failed because they were submerged underwater. It took them 24 hours to even dry them out and get the electrical system back online.
Sure. There were some talks that you have to file.
Let me also mention something both Tariq and I haven't mentioned yet, which is really important.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Keep in mind that all of this has to be done within 45 days of Monday.
Yep.
You have to submit the form within 45 days of Monday. And if you don't do that, then you may be barred from submitting it. Critically important to remember 45 days from Monday.
Sure.
Which is now 40 days.
Exactly. And the other thing I wanted to ask is that, we've heard talk saying you have to file with the city, file with the county. Is that true, in addition to, for example, asking you to file for a claimant?
We're offering to assist people.
Okay.
And most of the people that are filing with the city are not filing with the county because they don't know that that's required.
Okay. So it is required to file with both.
Yeah, and I would say that, if there was some other involvement from some other cities, someone in Dearborn may want to, serve notice upon those other cities too.
We have some callers asking for your numbers. Could you please, both of you, state your names or your numbers slowly so callers can write them down?
Sure. It's Ali Dagger, 313-846-1900. 313-846-1900. Go ahead, Tariq.
This is Attorney Tariq Beydoun, the Meridian Law Group. Our phone number over there is 313-288-8529. 313-288-8529. And we will be running sessions between 11 and 4 at the hour. Open sessions. We've got staff waiting. Ali is going to be helping.
What's in these open sessions? What I show up to your office and is it like fill out forms, answering questions? What's going on?
Yes, all of the above. First and foremost, educate people. We've educated our staff. They're all either college graduates or almost college graduates, to educate people on very key points that we discussed this morning, and then assist them in filling out the forms, or educate them on how to fill out the forms, or answer any questions that they have in filling out the forms. And if they do retain our services, to take the forms and process them along with evidence and their identification, so that we can submit the forms to the proper authorities for them. If they don't decide to use our services, that's okay. We still want to educate people so that they can turn in their own forms.
I also let me point out something that you and I as older members and historians of the community would want to know. What's interesting about this activity is that, and Tariq, I think you'd recognize the same thing. This is the first time that, as advocates, Arab Americans have taken a lead, not just within the Arab American community, but rather within the community at large. We're the only group of people who actually have done this. And other Arab American lawyers have also started doing the same thing. But keep in mind that there are no other firms out there, no other lawyers out there that are doing this, not just for the community, the Arab American community, but rather for the community at large. Which means that our community has evolved to such a level that we're not capable of taking active leadership roles in getting ahead of the curve and everybody else. And that's something I'm very proud of. And I'm proud of Tariq, and I'm proud of what's happening. And that's just one of the footnotes of history that we want to make.
Absolutely. And I like to note that, during the meeting on Tuesday, there were people from all different communities, from different ethnicities coming in to ask questions, and that was, that just shows
and I'm glad that we're doing this in English, because in all honesty, it's not just an Arab American issue.
No,
this
it's
is
not.
a Southeast Michigan issue.
Absolutely.
And that's something that, we've taken a lead on because we felt compelled to do so. And the fact that there are so many lawyers out there that are now taking stronger leadership roles makes me proud. And I wanted to just make a note of that we're not just an ethnic community at this point. We're taking active leadership roles within the community at large. And sooner or later, that's going to materialize in other ways that are not just in this particular project, but other projects as well.
Absolutely. Now, when it comes to the fees, and there was a question about that, is that people will be told what percentage will be retained? Like, for example, if I retain you as a lawyer and there is compensation, would I be told ahead of time, or this is something to be discussed later, depending on the magnitude of the case? I'm talking about your fees.
Right now, we're putting it a third, which is the typical percentage lawyers who are not guaranteed recovery would take.
Okay.
If the situation changes and we are ethically and morally and business-wise obligated to lower that amount, we may consider that. I would think that's correct, Tariq?
Yeah, absolutely. Our claim form and our retainer agreement, there's a wide range of possibilities here. FEMA could come in and start writing checks to our clients soon. It's possible. It's not been promised. We also could be involved in 5-year litigation, which is also possible.
Sounds good.
So we don't know at this point. I mean, it wouldn't be prudent to say that, you know, we're going to be taking a third if checks are cut tomorrow. I don't think that would be fair for most people. And so, you know, the retainer agreement has to be protect, you know, our right to be compensated, but more importantly, you know, we have to be fair. So, I mean, this is not really about the money at all. I mean, people should be paid for good results, but depending on the amount of work, we definitely have to consider, you know, on a case-by-case basis what our fair compensation is. And that's my practice as an attorney personally, and I think that's Ali's practice as an attorney personally. So I think we're in definite agreement on that.
Absolutely. And I also want to mention that, you know, your record volunteering in the community and your leadership record in the community speaks for itself. I want to remind our listeners that they can, if they have any questions, our number here today for the show is 248-557-3300. At the end of the segment, we will ask our guests to state their numbers again, and also we'll recap very quickly some of the important issues that they need to know. And we will have it on our website at www.emmichigan.com. And very quickly, I just want to remind people that, you know, although in some homes there was a clear water, there's still a health risk. And as we noticed in the meeting on Tuesday, the person from Oakwood Hospital, from Oakwood Healthcare, you know, these are serious issues. These are serious contamination. We don't want to take them lightly. And there's a lot of information. We put a lot of information on our website to let you know how you can, you know, deal with the flood in the basement, you know, when it comes to food, when it comes to items, which one you need to discard. You know, discard any food items, including packaged food that were in contact with sewage water. You know, you're talking about, you know, again, serious contamination here. Don't take it lightly. Things that you cannot wash with and disinfect, you need to get rid of. And again, as Ali mentioned, document everything. You know, the small, big, anything. Document it. Take photos, and make sure that you know, protect yourself, protect your children. You know, when it comes to rugs and when it comes to carpet, if it is a small area, you can get it cleaned. If it is a large area, you need to discard it or take it out and clean it. The padding under the rugs needs to be discarded because it traps a lot of that, you know, bacteria and unhealthy materials there, and then eventually it grows into a more health hazard. And there was, you know, another issue I want to mention is I really thought I was protected when it comes to insurance. When I bought my insurance, I asked, you know, they asked me, they said, is your area as a flood zone area? And I said, not that I can tell. You know, I looked at the city and they said, no, it's not. And then when I called my insurance, they said, well, you're not protected. You should have purchased a different coverage. So
let me explain that.
Yeah, let me just finish, and then I'm going to ask you to explain that, please, Ali. And what happened is that you need to be very careful. You know, when your insurance is as good as the person is selling it to you, and you need to do your homework very well. Otherwise, when you need it the most, it's going to fail you. So you need to be very careful. And now I'm going to ask Ali to explain it for us, please.
The thing about insurance is that it's supposed to protect you on what you think you know. Now, nobody can anticipate this kind of flood unless it happens. You should have anticipated it. It's certainly what I would call what's called a black swan, a rare event, an outlier event. But in the end, the way this flood insurance works is that it's partly subsidized by the National Flood Insurance Program. The National Flood Insurance Program is a federally sponsored program that everybody pays into. Now, they require it if you're in a flood zone, and it's required by the mortgage company or people lending you money. You don't really anticipate this stuff, and it's hard to think about it. It's about $250 extra a year, and on an average home. But if you don't have it, you don't have it. At this point, we're going to have to deal with the situation subsequent to it. But it is a federally sponsored program because the cost of a flood is so huge that not many insurance companies are willing to underwrite it. Keep in mind that floods occur on a regular basis in the Midwest, particularly around the Mississippi River. And people in that region anticipated, and that's typically where you buy the flood insurance. But in Dearborn, you very rarely, except for those people that live around the Rouge River, you very rarely, Dearborn Heights in particular as well, you very rarely have this kind of event. I'm sorry that for folks, including myself, I'm going to go out and buy myself some flood insurance. Now, my house wasn't flooded, but my mother's house was. And I'm sure everybody else is going to go buy it as well. But that's really what it is. And let's hope that FEMA steps in and FEMA is able to compensate. But I agree with you. Indeed, based on, we had the director of infectious disease from Oakland Hospital, and he was very clear about what to do. Even if it's canned food, take off the label, boil the canned foods, okay, so that the bacteria that's on the surface of the can, which survives for days, is killed off. Don't take a risk. Don't take a risk in keeping some rug that you put in your basement. It's really not worth it. If you've got hardwood floors, unfortunately, those hardwood floors are going to have to be removed. And you're going to have to replace them because mold begins to form and other bacteria remain underneath it. It's a disaster that we don't understand. We have never experienced, but we're going to try to cope with it, and we're all coping together.
Absolutely.
And whatever we can do to help you, whatever we can do to give you information and facilitate your needs, please don't hesitate to contact either myself or Tarek. Tarek and I have been friends forever, and we've worked together in the past, and I look forward to working with him on this project as well.
And I want to remind people, some of the issues that may not surface right now, which is health issues, but they have a long-term effect. So you need to be very careful. Some of the bacteria we're dealing with are very serious bacteria. They cause, various illnesses, specifically in children. You're talking about E. coli, you're talking about salmonella, you're talking about, some more serious bacteria that can cause all kind of diseases and all kind of health complications, from abdominal cramping to diarrhea to occasional death to cause any problems. If you come in touch with if you touch any of the items, make sure you clean your hands thoroughly before you touch your face, your nose, your eyes, and touch anything else, and touch your mouth. So if you have an open cut, some of the health experts saying if you have an open cut, you come in contact with it, you may need to, get a shot or contact your physician for additional information, to protect yourself. These are serious matters. These are not just, even if the water looks clean, it's not really clean, and in some areas it was not. So, and to go back to the insurance thing, from what I've gathered is that not only you have to get flood insurance, you have to be very specific for this particular one. It's what's called backup sewage flood, which is if it's not backup sewage flood, even if you had a flood insurance, it may not cover. So you need to be very specific when you're talking to the person that you purchase insurance from, is to make sure that you are protected. Try to come up with as many scenarios as possible, and get the coverage you really need and deserve. So before, I'm sorry, go ahead very quickly, so because we need to close out with your information and your numbers.
Yeah. First, I just wanted to state that the backup sewage is not very expensive. It's not terribly expensive, but it really should be purchased. I mean, we've had 2 years of flooding in Dearborn Heights here. I mean, everyone needs to get that, definitely.
Absolutely. And the weather is becoming crazier and crazier. You don't know what's going to happen day in and day out. So, just spend the extra money. And my neighbor told her agent, listen, I saved every penny for years and years and years to renovate my basement and buy, brand new, the best furniture possible. Please protect me. And she thought she was protected, and guess what? She was not. So you need to be very, very careful. So
pay attention to the deductible too.
Exactly.
Pay attention to the deductible. We have people who have $5,000-$10,000 deductibles, and by the time you reach that deductible, you're not going to have much left over.
Absolutely.
That's really important.
And as we run out of time, please, either one of you, very quickly, let
me just point something out really quick.
Okay.
The East Dearborn population has a huge number of folks who are older. I'd like to see if people that are living in East Dearborn please take a peek at people, that your neighbors that are living perhaps by themselves. See what you can do to help out. See if you can help them lift some things, or perhaps help them bleach. Whatever you can do to help one another, this is the time to do it.
Okay.
But as far as information is concerned, again, my name is Ali Dagger. I'm a 22-year practitioner in the city of Dearborn. My office is on Ford Road, across the street from Fordson High School. My phone number is area code 313-846-1900. Whatever we can do to help, whatever Tarek and I and other lawyers in the city can do to help you, please don't hesitate to contact me, okay?
Sounds good.
Thanks again for having me on board.
Thank you. Absolutely. We appreciate your help, guys.
Thank you.
Okay. And we're going to take a short break, and I'll be back to close the session. Thanks again to Ali and...
Thank you.
If you're facing legal problems, it's time to get the right attorney working for you. Ziad Gossett is experienced in foreclosure defense, eviction, and real estate law, as well as immigration matters, workers' comp, bankruptcy, business law, and all criminal matters. With attorney Ziad Gossett in your corner, you won't have to fight alone. Call 248-680-7300. That's 248-680-7300. Senabriku for all your Metro Detroit real estate needs. 248-755-3494. Whether buying or selling, short sales, foreclosure, or investment for both business and residential, call Senabriku, owner and broker of St. Jude Realty, at 248-755-3494.
Once again, I want to thank you for being with us today with Radio Baladi. And we were with the attorneys Tarek Baidoun and Ali Dagher from Dearborn, and we were discussing, the how to cope with the flood. And just want to wrap up. One thing is, it's very important that you document everything. It's very important that you file a claim. You only have 45 days from the day it happened, which is now it's 40 days because it's been 5 days. If you don't, please call and ask. We have a lot of information on our website, and that is www.yamichigan.com. That's YAMichigan.com. And the various cities have information on their websites as well. We mentioned to you the numbers for the attorneys as well. We will have that on our website as well. It's very important. This is a serious matter, and you need to make sure you understand the risk, the health risk, the financial risk, and you need to be protected. And I also want to mention that the Arab American and Chaldean Council will be celebrating its 35th year anniversary pretty soon. We want to congratulate them on a great job in serving the community, specifically founder and CEO Dr. Haifa Fekhouri and her work from the beginning. And I'm sure there are a lot of people in the community who have worked with her as well. Just because we don't have their names, it does not mean that we don't want to miss them. They have done and served this community tremendously. Congratulations on great work. This is an organization that started with a few $1,000s budget, and now I believe it's somewhere around $14 million budget, serving thousands and thousands of people in our community. Another thing going on in the community here is that CARE has filed a lawsuit against the federal government in regard to the terrorist watch list, and this is another disturbing issue that we found out about it recently, and we want they're asking the government to clarify the issue. This is really a murky issue. And that came after a report saying that Dearborn is the number 2 city with people on the terror list, watch list, that is, in nationwide, second to New York. This is very disturbing, and the group want the final lawsuit on behalf of 5 local Americans who are on the list. And the power of any law is its clarity. So we want to thank you again and for listening. And thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.